ready for true happiness, for deep fulfillment, for feeling alive, on purpose, and in control of your life again? It's time to be the bold, brilliant, beautiful woman you were born to be. Welcome to the Purpose Girl Podcast. I'm women's happiness and life purpose expert Karen Rockkind, and I'm going to teach you how to live on purpose, feel alive, and be happy in every aspect of life. I'm going to get real about my life and interview women who are living on purpose so that you can finally live yours. Welcome to the show.
Hello, my purpose girls. So a woman contacted me recently to talk about coaching. And she said, I'm just unhappy. Just nothing's working. So I asked her, all right, take me out a year from now. You and I are having coffee and you walk into the room. How do you want to feel about life then? What do you want then? And she paused and then she said to me, I don't know. I just want more. I just want more. And as she said that word, chills went down my entire body. My heart actually sank a bit. My belly got tight because I remember that feeling. I remember that word so well years ago. I was standing in the shower, married to my first husband, crying. It was a time I could cry where he wouldn't hear me because he was sick of me crying. And I remember the hot water was just coming down over my cheeks, tears and hot water. And I just said to myself, there has to be more to life. There has to be more than this. And that word has haunted me, but in a really good way since. And I hear it a lot from women. I just want more. But often we aren't even sure what that means. More what? Right? We don't want more busyness. God knows we are busy. Goddess knows we are busy enough. We don't want more just things to do. Goddess knows we have plenty to do on our list. So the question is more what? What does it take to really be a fulfilled, happy, vibrant, empowered, radiant woman, radiant goddess on purpose? And that's what we're diving into today on the Purpose Girl Podcast. Let's dive into more and what the heck that means. I can't wait. You're definitely going to want to stay for this whole episode because I have such good tips and tools for you, an amazing tool, especially if you can sit down and work with a piece of paper with me as I take you through this. It's going to be so fun. Before I begin, of course, I want to read our review of the week. This review is coming to us by Shandy. She says, Karen is such a beauty, compassionate, and eloquent host. Oh, that's so nice. Her integrity is felt in the choice of her guests, her responses, and her balance of listening as well as talking skills. Thank you so much. That means so much to me because I love interviewing my guests. I love doing the show and I love impacting you out there. And your reviews are how women all over the world are finding the Purpose Girl Podcast. So if you haven't left your 5-star review yet, please be like Shandy. Head on over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Leave 1-sentence review. It makes a huge difference. Also, this episode of the Purpose Girl Podcast is brought to you by the Women's Day event. The Women's Day event is sponsored by Live Happy Magazine. It is the biggest, the best, the most phenomenal, the most fun, the most glorious, the most empowering, most amazing women's event on the planet. Literally happening all day long from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern on March 8th. You can come to some or you can come to all. There is a plethora of extraordinary world-class speakers, New York Times best-selling authors talking to you about passion, perseverance, talking to you about like loving your imperfections, how to overcome anxiety, helping you to be the entrepreneur, to go for the promotion, to create the business, to feel sensual and sexy in your body. We have put together more than 25 experts for you to love yourself, for you to live your purpose, and for you to feel vibrant and live a freaking amazing life. It's totally free, happening March 8th. Go to thewomensdayevent.com, thewomensdayevent.com, and join us. Literally thousands of women around the world. Biggest party on the planet. Join now. All right, let's talk about more. So first, let's look up what more even means in the dictionary. a greater amount or additional amount or degree of, right? A greater or additional amount of. And so I want you to pause right there. If this resonates with you, if you've been feeling stuck, or one of my new coaching clients who's doing my Rockstar VIP coaching package, which is 1 year with me, a whole year with me, where we get so deep into your purpose. We get you out in the world in such a beautiful way. She said to me, I just feel lost since having kids, since kind of losing some of her like juice and zhuzh, just feeling lost. So if you felt lost or you felt stuck or frankly overwhelmed by all that has gone on in the past year, all the homeschooling and the working from home and the constant Zooms, like if you're feeling any of this and inside you're just aching for more, a greater or additional amount of. The question is a greater or additional amount of what? And how do we even figure that out? Because I guarantee your days are jam-packed already, right? It's like you can't even find time for the workout that you want. You can't even find time for getting your nails done, let alone to follow your purpose and do the things that you're like dying to do. So how do we figure out what we actually want more of? Can we actually have it all? So I'm a firm believer that you can have it all. It's just a matter of what that looks like for you and you doing it in a way that is totally filled with pleasure, totally lights you up, totally is passionate, totally feels aligned and supportive of you. So to figure this out, we're going to use one of my favorite coaching tools. It's called a wheel of life. So I want you to take a piece of paper and I want you to make a big circle, as big of a circle as you can. And then cut that circle into, let's say, 8 pieces and parts, okay? As if you have a pizza and you've got 8 delicious slices. Now, one slice is going to be career. For you, that might be leadership. It might be becoming an entrepreneur, but it's career. One slice is going to be family. Now, for you, that might be having kids. It might be your siblings. It might be whoever you consider family, your cats, your dogs, whatever that might be. The next slice we're going to do as romance, intimacy, sensuality. This is your sense of sensuality, of sexuality, of how you feel in your delicious body. Feeling that feminine sense, the goddess of love in you. The next slice we're going to give to purpose, to making a difference, making an impact, to contributing to something larger than you, whether that for you is through a nonprofit, for you that is connected to your career. There might be some overlap here, and that's totally cool. The next slice we're going to dedicate to your health, to how you feel in your body, to how you care for your body mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's like your total health. The next slice we're going to give to fun, right? Whatever that is for you. Every single one of us has different things that are fun. Like we're going to figure that out, but it's going to be fun. We have to have fun. We have to have joy. We have to have pleasure. So you could call that your fun slice. You could call that your joy slice, whatever resonates for you. The next slice is going to be for community. For you, that might be your friends. It might be your book clubs. It might be spiritual community for you, but it's all about you having that sense of community. It might be volunteering for you. And again, there might be some overlap. So you're going to get to decide, hey, I'd rather have this kind of slice than that kind of slice. All good. And the final slice then is your spiritual connection to yourself, to something greater than you, to the universe, whatever that might be. Now, I want you to look at all those pieces and I want you to see, is there a piece missing for you? Like for you, travel, like for me, travel would go in fun, but for you, it's important enough and you want travel to be its own slice. Or perhaps for you, you want to take volunteering out of purpose and you want to make it its own slice. Totally cool. You can have 9 slices. You could have 7 slices. You could rename the slices. All good. This is your wheel of life. You get to do it however you want. This is just a general idea. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to look at each pie slice. And I want to ask you, if everything were going as well as it possibly could, and you felt so juicy, so alive, in each one of those slices. And you take them one by one. If you felt so alive in your purpose, you felt so clear, you felt so on fire, you felt like, oh, you're really making a difference, you're really going for it, whatever that is for you, whether you know your purpose or you don't, but you define what like a 10 out of 10 would be in that. I want you to take each one and I want you to define what that is for you, right? So what would a 10 look like in purpose? What would a 10 look like in career? Right? Like for you, career might be you are the CEO, you have an amazing team working for you, you're doing something that you love, you have created something. Like for you, it might be being an entrepreneur, or for you, it might be rising up at your company and like taking over and making a huge difference in that company. It's all good. You get to decide what a 10 out of 10, what that like ideal juice you up, aligned way would be for career. The same with romance and intimacy, sensuality, right? And there's actually a couple aspects in this slice. I want you to imagine, what would a 10 look like there? If everything felt as good as it could possibly feel in that area of your life, what would that look like? How would you feel? How would you feel when you were in relationship, you were in an intimate relationship? How would you feel in your own sensuality? So you're going to take each one of these slices and you're really going to look at what a 10 would be. So after you define what a 10 out of 10, like what the ideal would be for you, what would feel so amazing, what would be so in alignment for you, what would be quote unquote having it all for you. And be clear when you're doing this that you're not just putting down what other people think you should have. Right? So it's not that other people think that you should be married. That might not be a thing for you, or you might not be sure. Well, then don't put that down as your 10, right? Or in health, check in. If you put down, oh, I would weigh 120 pounds. Is that because you really want to weigh 120 pounds? Like that's really true to who you are? Or is that because some magazine, some societal something said at some point, or your parents said at some point that skinniness or wearing a certain size mattered? Like maybe for you in health, you really want to be able to climb Mount Everest, or you really want to feel like super sexy in leather pants, or you want to love your curves. Like you get to decide what that 10 is, what would feel so good. And as you're doing that, I want you to think about setting these as desires that would light you up, goals that are turned on. So we know from goal setting research that you can either set a goal that is kind of coming from a negative place, right? It's a lack. So you feel like you've gained a ton of weight with COVID or the holidays. And so, I just want to lose weight. I just want to get skinny. I just want to lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds or 30 pounds. And then you'd be setting a goal based on lack, as opposed to an approach goal. So that's an avoid goal, right? Like I no longer want to be this size, or I no longer want to weigh this. And it's coming from fear or lack. What we know is that when you set an approach goal that actually is more fueled by what you want, what you desire, what would feel so good for you, what would feel yummy, is you actually are more likely to achieve that approach goal. So rather than trying to avoid being fat, quote unquote, you want to approach, feeling yummy and sexy leather pants, or loving my curves and feeling like I am just the most delicious, voluptuous woman on earth, or climbing Mount Everest, or joining that softball team and feeling so athletic would feel so good. And it might be, getting into that hot bikini is going to feel amazing. But you see the difference between an approach goal and an avoid goal? So for each one of these, you want to be able to do that. So let's take relationships, for example. You might think, my husband I can't stand that he does not listen to me when I'm like in an emotional place. He doesn't seem to care about my emotions. He doesn't want to talk through things. So a 10 out of 10 would be him listening. Okay, well, we can't really control him listening. What we more can control, and what I more want you to focus on, is you and how you feel. So a 10 out of 10 for you would be that you feel heard. That you are in intimate relationships, that you are in a partnership where you feel heard. And even more so, where you get to speak, you get to emote. See how you're putting the onus then back on yourself. So as you go through each one of these, the question is, what would light you up? What would feel so juicy, so good, so alive, so like a goddess on purpose For each one of these, what would give you that sense, that feeling, that radiant, alive, goddess on purpose feeling? So pause this episode for a minute. Go through each pie piece. Write down what your 10 of 10 would be. Dreams are free. Vision is free. And the beauty of this exercise is that we know from the research that when you full body vision what you desire, what you want, your brain does not know the difference between the vision and reality. Let me give you an example. I've probably done this on the episodes before. But if you just pause and you close your eyes, as long as you're not driving, right? You're not operating heavy machinery. Disclaimer there. If you're in a place where you can pause and you can close your eyes, and imagine I'm standing right in front of you and I am holding a big, juicy lemon. And I take that lemon and I put it on the counter and I take out a knife and I slice and I cut a big, juicy slice of lemon. And I hand that big, juicy slice of lemon over to you. I put it in your hands and you bring it up to your nose and you smell the lemon. And then you open your mouth and you put that lemon on your tongue and then you bite down on that lemon. Notice what's happening in your body, what's happening in your mouth. What do you notice about your saliva? What do you notice about everything happening on your tongue? If you're like most people, the sour feeling, that sour taste, like you're cringing a little bit, or you could taste the juiciness, you could feel it, right? Like I was just taking you through it and I could taste it, I can feel it. Here's the interesting thing. I have no lemon in my hand. There's no lemon. I didn't hand you a lemon. You didn't put the lemon in your mouth, but you visioned it with your whole body, with every sense, with your taste, with your smell. So your brain thought it was actually happening. So cool, right? What that shows us is that we can use this technique to create more, to literally have whatever we want in life, and to do so in a way that, no pun intended, juices us up, that makes us feel so freaking good. We can use that same thought experiment. So as you go through each one of these pie pieces, like health, what would feel so good for you? What would help you? What would make you feel lit up and alive with health? With purpose. You don't have to know what your purpose is, but how do you want to feel with purpose? Do you want to feel like you are on fire, like you're making an impact, that you're getting to really connect with other people? Or maybe I just love animals. I want to be doing something with animals. A woman in my Goddess on Purpose class, she didn't know exactly what, but as she went through all of the exercises about inspiration and superpowers and passion, like she just kept coming back to animals. And so she started a vegan blog, like how to do it, why to do it. It was amazing. She didn't quit her job yet, but she started this blog to like get her passion out there in the world. So as you go through each pie piece, you're going to feel into what would light you up. Now, here's the other thing about goals. I love goals. Goals are amazing, but goals are like hard. They have numbers. They're time bound. They're measurable. You know if you did them or you didn't do them. Like, I'm going to make $1 million this year. So at the end of 2021, I can look back and say, did I make $1 million? If I made $999,000, I didn't quite hit it. If I made $1,001, I did it. So I know that goal. Now, that is a goal. It's an approach goal. It's all about me. It's in my purview to do. So it's like, yes, okay, that's awesome. A goal, though, is different than a desire. A desire actually comes from our deep feminine. A desire comes from our soul. A desire comes from a yearning, from a longing, and from what lights us up. I have a deep desire to have a hot tub. Like I can just picture both the summer and winter nights of Josh and I going into the hot tub. Shay goes to bed. We've got the monitor outside. We're in the juicy hot tub. It's so yummy. I so get turned on by the idea of like walking outside in my backyard in my big Ugg boots and a big winter jacket and then slipping into the hot tub naked. Like, oh, that just so lights me up. I so want a beach house. Like the idea of just every summer having this beach house that's white and white furniture and white drapes are in the breeze. And I'm writing my books and I see Shay playing outside on the sand and he grows up there in the summers. Like that just turns me on. Another thing that turns me on, having a Louis Vuitton bag. Now, I'm under no illusion that that will make me happy in life, but it turns me on. It's kind of fun. It's kind of delicious. And so when I think about making $1 million, the desires are everything I just said to you. That desire for what would light me up, what would be fun, what would be juicy, what would just, make me feel so alive. Now, when that desire drives your goal, now you've got a magic formula for more. Right? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about more. So I want you to feel into every single one. I want you to feel into each of these pie pieces. What would light you up with career? What would light you up with family? What would light you up with purpose, with intimacy, with fun, with health? And don't worry about COVID restrictions at this point. Like, well, travel would light me up, but I can't travel because of COVID. Or family, seeing my family for every holiday lights me up, but I can't because of COVID. We're not going to worry about that right now. Dreams are free. And at some point, the world will heal. Enough people will be vaccinated. Things will reopen. You will get to do all of that. So we're going to stay in a place of what would light you up. Okay, so that first part of the exercise is that you define what that delicious lit up 10 of 10 would be, what more even means. And probably notice that more for you wasn't doing more busy work. It wasn't doing more laundry, even though I know laundry has to get done. It wasn't probably having a perfectly clean house. It wasn't having a perfectly clean car that has no Cheerios on it. Like it probably wasn't any of that. It also probably wasn't looking good to the other soccer moms or keeping up with everyone else on my street or having a perfect Facebook or Instagram profile. Like it probably wasn't any of those. Because when we get to what really lights you up, that has to do more with your heart, with your soul, with your pussy, with your juice, with your joy. And then you can see, okay, so where are you spending your time? Is it on the juice and the joy, or is it on these kind of all these other things? So this is the next part of our exercise here. You're going to take each pie piece that now you know what juice looks like, what joy looks like, what lit up more looks like. And on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is you don't have this at all, to 10 meaning it is so on track for you, where are you? And be honest with yourself. I have a client who I worked with a few years ago, and she did a half-day session with me, and we went through this exercise, and she defined each of these pieces for herself. And she called me 3 years later, and she's like, okay, I did every single thing on the item. Like, I have done all of it. Right after I left our session, I went and I booked travel, and now I'm like traveling, and I shifted my relationship, my partnership. That's awesome. Like she did all the things. So she's like, all right, let's do this again. Like, what are we doing now? And so we're working together, coaching and saying, okay, what would the next look like? Right. And not that you always have to be chasing more. She's under no illusion that quote unquote having more would make her happier. And she loves having, like expanding her havingness, expanding what is possible for her. She loves getting into her juicy desires and lighting up. Like, why not? That's the beauty here. That's the desire. Why wouldn't we all want that? Yes, you can have it all. The key is you define what that is and you figure out how to make it work for you. So now you're going through each pie piece and you're rating yourself. And you're asking yourself, like, what is really rocking out in my life right now? And what's not? What's not? So when we think about more, this can help us really get clear on what that would look like. Now, if you give yourself a 5 or a 2 or a 1 or a 0 or a 6 or whatever in any category, the key here right now is that you don't beat yourself up. Rather, you celebrate yourself for acknowledging what is true for you, acknowledging what that more radiant, empowered, goddess on purpose life looks like for you. Celebrate the frick out of yourself. I want you to just, give yourself like a huge applause for doing this, for listening to this podcast, for wanting to be the woman that you were born to be. Like that is freaking amazing. And now the question is how? How do we bridge that gap? And can we do it all at once? So 2 weeks ago, I started a 21-day running challenge. I am here in Miami. I'm spending the month here with my family. I feel so freaking grateful because the day we left was literally the day that all the snow started dumping on the Northeast, which is where I live in the United States. And so we literally drove away from the house as the snow was starting. It was like freaking miracle that we had booked this trip literally the same day as 2 feet of snow was about to dump on our house. Like, thank you. And here I am in my tank top and palm trees and sunshine and pool in Miami. So freaking grateful, grateful, grateful. But this is really the point. This is really the point. The point is that you really can have it all. You can have more. And you get to do it your way. Okay, I'm going to pause the story for one moment and just remind you that this episode is brought to you by the Women's Day event. This is the world's largest Women's Day event. And it's like, well, okay, so what's in it for me? Why should you care about that? You should care because this is 25 speakers who are some of the world's leading experts. I'm talking Angela Duckworth, the New York Times bestselling author of Grit to help you be passionate and persevere towards your goals. I'm talking Jen Pastiloff, who is such an inspirational woman. She became deaf in her life and wrote this incredible memoir on being human, all about being perfectly imperfect and how that leads to happiness. Her book is a national bestseller. She's amazing. She is a keynote speaker. There will be a panel on sensuality with women who teach me my own erotic sovereignty and will help you like get into your body and feel so delicious and feel alive. A panel on entrepreneurship with 2 of my coaches, the woman who made me a published author, Christine Closer. She is on the panel teaching you how to do that and how she created a multi-6-figure business. My business coach, Julia Wells, who created a 7-figure business in 18 months. She's on the entrepreneurship panel. I mean, these women are going to teach you exactly how to have more in life. Make sure you're signing up. Make sure you're telling all your girlfriends, your mom, your sisters, everybody, thewomensdayevent.com. You do not want to miss this. Even if you can't make the whole thing, register. Then at least you can come to some. Get your booty registered now. Thewomensdayevent.com. Okay, so I said to myself, I want to run every day I'm here. Like I'm in Miami, I may as well. Now, let me ask you this. Where the heck do I have time to run? Okay, where do I have time to run? I am running Purpose Girl, which is, I brag, a thriving business. My client roster is like amazingly full at this time. I have 3 different group courses going right now. The Certificate in Applied Positive Psychology class that meets twice a week. My Goddess on Fire, which is my mastermind for women starting purpose-based businesses. That is going every single week. My Empowered group, which is my mastermind to be the most confident, radiant woman alive. And obviously I'm a new mom and I've committed that 3 o'clock on every day is my time with Shay. So when do I have time to run every day? Here's the deal. I don't. But when I do my own wheel of life, I want to feel alive in my body. I want to feel sexy in my body. I want to feel so healthy and so vibrant and so good. I love feeling juicy and I love the feeling of running. So how do I do it? Well, I'm with Shay every day at 3 o'clock. So what do? I get on my running clothes, I put him in the stroller, and we take our run together. Today, I so nailed it. I put him in the stroller. I got my earbuds in so I could tape a little video because I'm doing this daily running challenge and sharing it in my Facebook group, Purpose Girls. If you're not a member, go join right now. And ran us to the grocery store. We went around the grocery store. We laughed. We talked. He was like, he's like kind of doing his like baby talk right now. And then we ran home. Did I nail it or what? I got my health in. I got my baby in. I got my grocery shopping in. I'm like, I'm a freaking motherfucking badass. I was so proud of myself. I'm such a goddess on purpose. And I taped that video, living my purpose to inspire women. Listen, I'm not special. I'm not different. I'm not anything different than you. If I can do that, so can you. Some days at home, when we were in the cold, and you're like, oh, but Karen, you're in Miami, so you can run every day and it's easy to put him in the stroller. Okay, when we're at home, some days I will lay on my back and I will just start picking him up. I mean, he's a big, beautiful boy. He's a big boy. And that's how I get my arm exercises in. Like, we get to be creative. We get to make up what it is. We get to have fun with it. And listen, it's not perfect. Last night, I didn't have time or energy to do my run. And so what did I do in the middle of a 2-mile walk? He had dropped his pacifier on the ground. I ran to get the pacifier and I was like, sweet, there's my run. Okay, we get to define it and we get to have fun with it. That's the other thing is sometimes my exercise will be dancing with him, dancing with Josh, dancing in the kitchen every day. A family that dances together, I swear to God that they are happy together. You get to decide. You get to make it what you want to make it. That's what having more is. That's what having it all is. One of the things that I love when I think about my health is doing the things that make me happy, that are fun for me. So I've been taking a workout class 3 days a week from my dear friend, Allison Vernon Thompson. And I'm so excited. She is going to be doing some exercise classes. Oh, she's so good at the Women's Day event. I mean, this is the woman who's my health coach, the woman who I exercise with. And she mixes up her classes with like some Pilates, some yoga, some strength training, and some salsa dancing. Okay. She has her degree in dancing and then she went into fitness instruction. She's like so amazing. And she's going to be at the Women's Day event. Another woman I love who's gotten me to love working out and exercise is Patricia Moreno. She created something called Intensati, which is mixing movement with statements. Like you punch the air while you speak affirmations that she's created. So like you could do it with me right now if your hands don't need to be on a wheel. And she'll be like, I am powerful. I am powerful. I'm literally right now punching the air while I talk to you. And it's so fun. You feel so freaking good. And she is doing a whole Intensati class during the Women's Day event. Another way that I've had fun working out and exercising is erotic dance, is dance movement, moving out my emotions, moving to drums, total dance, letting go, free dancing. And so Bernadette Pleasant, who created Femme, I've had her on the podcast before. She is doing a 90-minute Femme Dance Your Emotions Out class during the Women's Day event. And these are all free. If you took these classes just on their own, you would pay more than $150. Okay. But it's totally free. And that's not all that's happening at the Women's Day event. I'm just giving that as an example. I'm getting carried away, obviously. But you get to decide what feeling good in your body looks like and how to do it and how to incorporate it into your life. The same is true with me for fun. I said travel could be your own category, but for me, travel is like part of what I need to have fun. And let's face it, with COVID and for me, maternity leave and having an infant, travel has been out. And Josh and I had been planning on coming down to Florida over Christmas, but we're like, well, we're not flying. So we said, you know what? Let's drive. Let's just figure it out. Let's drive down. My parents live here. Let's drive down. We came down. We had 6 glorious days, 4 days of driving, 6 days of being here. Now, some people, you might be like, oh, it's not worth it. Why is that not worth it? If travel is what is quote unquote more for you, if travel is what lights you up, why would that not be worth it? To even make it better, we made a trip out of it. So on the way down, we stopped in Savannah and we had several hours of just enjoying Savannah. And on the way back, we stopped in Charleston and stayed overnight and had like amazing grits for dinner and an amazing, amazing time in Charleston for half a day. So you get to choose. Does it look different than pre-COVID? Sure. But you still get to choose. And while we were down here, friends of ours were like, why are you going back? You work for yourselves. You could just stay here. And we were like, oh my God, they're right. Now, you have to have resources and means, obviously, to be able to travel, to be able to rent a place. But there are a million different ways to do it. You could trade houses with somebody. Do you know that that's a thing? It wasn't just a movie. It's a real thing. You could think about who do you know who lives in certain places and ask, can I come for a weekend? Or is there a time you're not going to be there and I could rent your house or I could use your house or I could babysit your cats, whatever it might be. Instead of I can't, I want you to constantly think of how can I? And so we asked our nanny who only works for us part-time. She's not a full-time nanny. Do you want to come down to Miami with us? And you'd still only be working part-time. And she was like, heck yeah, I'm in. Right? Because she wanted the opportunity of being here. So before you tell yourself it is not possible to have it all, it's not possible to have more, I want you to keep asking yourself, how can I? What is possible? And why not just try? Like, why not just ask the question? Hey, can we do this? For instance, for us staying somewhere, we asked, hey, can we stay in your house? You never know what somebody is going to say. They may say no. They may say yes. you may as well ask. And so here we are spending 6 weeks in Miami while tons of snow has dumped on our house at home. Are we still working? Yup. Even more so because we're planning this Women's Day event. But here I am sitting in a closet, taping this for you in Miami. And when we wake up to take our morning walk, we do so walking through palm trees. And after work, after 3, 4 o'clock, when I'm with Shay, I can take him outside to swings or take him to my parents' pool at their condominium building. Like, you get to create the life that you want. You may just have to ask how. Intimacy, sensuality. So I've always considered myself a really sensual person. When I was a little girl, you can go back to like episode 5 or 6 or something. I talked about how I started masturbating when I was 5, had sexual fantasies when I was a little girl. But a lot of it I kept to myself when I got older because maybe I thought it was a little weird or people wouldn't get it. And some of it I had kind of put aside, not really explored that side of me. But after my divorce, as I started to really look at who am I, what do I want, what is more for me, what did that pie chart look like for me, what lit me up was the idea of being a wild woman. And I don't mean wild like Daytona Beach, spring break, 1999. I mean wild like hair wild, topless, in the woods, drumming, dancing, howling at the moon wild. I mean being fierce, being feminine, dancing with my sisters. Like, that's what I mean by wild woman. And being sensual in my body. Allowing myself, my sexuality, my whole sexuality, my fantasies, my desires. And so I found a mentor for that. I went to Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts and expanded my studies and then worked with Lauren Harkness, who's incredible, who so teaches how to be in your body, how to self-pleasure, how to love your body, even how to ejaculate. She's like incredible, this woman, Tantra expert teacher. One of my teachers, one of my mentors. And again, she's speaking at the Women's Day event, as well as Amy Batuski, who I've had on the podcast. She's all about bringing your desires to light. Devi Maisha, Yanni Kramer. I mean, these are experts in getting into your sensuality. So if that was a pie piece that wasn't quite there for you and you want to increase your intimacy, your relationships, your romance, get your booty into the Women's Day event. Okay, I know I'm talking about it a lot, but now I'm getting like super excited about it, right? The fact is that your sensuality is a piece of being a goddess on purpose, a piece of being that woman, that whole woman, and that happy, fulfilled woman. The same is true of purpose. You know, I'm like obsessed with purpose. And to me, purpose isn't just like having a job that you love or what you're supposed to do in the world career-wise. No. Purpose is being your full true self in the world. It is doing all that's in your heart and making an impact, mostly by being yourself, but making an impact, making a difference, like being the freaking leader that the world needs now, being the leader that your kids need to see, the role model, being that amazing badass who is out there making a difference. If that was low on your list, let me teach you how. I'm also doing a keynote full hour on living your purpose at the Women's Day event. The truth is that we need every single area in that pie to feel fully alive. Now, yeah, there are going to be times and seasons of your life that you're going to spend more time on your kids than on your career, times when you'll spend more times on your career than your kids. But I'm really proud of myself. I'm genuinely doing it all. Are there days that I want to spend all day with Shay and not working? Yup. And actually working for myself, what I'm doing is ensuring that I have my afternoons with him. And I'm working on having larger classes and less one-on-one clients so that I can have even more time with him. Like, everything is possible, sister. Everything is possible. Because when the majority of my income comes from speaking or comes from larger classes, right, and has more of you, let's say 300 of you are in my Goddess on Purpose class, I can spend more time with him. This is how we can do it, sister. You can have more. You can have it all. I'm 100% convinced of that. Look at me sitting in Miami, having run through the palm trees, spent my afternoon with my baby and my day empowering women. Like, it is possible. So I know I've talked a lot about the Women's Day event, but the thing is, I created it specifically to answer this question for women, to give you that more, to give you that sense of inner fulfillment And what's going to make you feel fully alive and radiant like that goddess on purpose? I mean, imagine to you, fill in this sentence, a goddess on purpose is a woman who. A goddess on purpose is a woman who, like, what is that? When I ask that question in my Goddess on Purpose classes, women tell me a goddess on purpose is a woman who is living fully, is a woman who doesn't give a shit what other people think, is a woman who is radiant and vibrant and alive, is a woman who loves herself unapologetically, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about here. And you get to have that full pie. What that means is that some other things start to drop off. I've got toys everywhere in my house. And some days it'll drive me crazy and I'll just like put them all together. I ask my nanny at the end of your shift, can you always just like put the toys together? And I'm blessed that I can afford to have someone come and clean my house like once a month. I know that that's not for everybody. And I also believe that we all can make more money, right? You can start a side hustle. You could be an entrepreneur. You could come up with artwork that you could sell to people. There's always ways that you could fund something that you desire. Again, we just have to ask how. So I know that yearning, horrible feeling of wanting more. And sister, I know what's possible because I'm living it. And so let that be your deep knowing that if I'm doing it, you can too. If I'm having it, you can too. If I'm being it, you can too. And that's why I want you to get your booty into the womensdayevent.com. I have specifically curated an entire day for you to have that full pie, for you to be in your sensuality and feel amazing in your body, for you to dance and move and have the empowerment affirmations, for you to have the career and the purpose that will just light you up, for you to step into your leadership, ask for the promotion, get paid what you're worth, for you to have fun and sisterhood and community. I have curated this event for you to have more, for you to have exactly what you desire, for you to be the goddess on purpose that you were born to be. So if you have not yet registered, go do it right now. Do not even wait 2 seconds. thewomensdayevent.com, thewomensdayevent.com. Go register. If you've registered, but you haven't invited your friends, your girlfriends, your mom, your sisters, your aunts, your cousins, pause right now. Go do that. Send them that link. Tell them it's free. They can come to 1 hour of it, 5 minutes of it. Whatever amount that they come is going to light them up. It's going to change their lives. I guarantee it. Seriously guarantee it. If you haven't yet gone to your HR department and said, hey, let's get all of our female employees to this. Like, this is an amazing free event that we can do for Women's Day. Go do that now. Like, this is how we change the world one woman at a time. You want to live on purpose? Take this purpose on. That we are changing the world. We're getting thousands of women to get their groove on, to get their more on, to live that whole delicious, vibrant, radiant life. That's what it is to be a goddess on purpose. That's what I'm living, and that's what I want to teach you how to do. So, of course, go find me in all the places on Instagram at Karen Rockine, on Facebook in the Purpose Girls group. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you haven't. Get on my newsletter list because that's the first place that you find out about promotions and events and different things I'm doing and first dibs and scholarships or things of that nature. Get on that newsletter list. With that, my love, may you live purposefully. May you love yourself and may you love life. Bye for now.